420 to everybody. We are in Colorado, so this is a big celebration day for sure. I have Julia Joun, who is the executive director of the Flatirons Food Film Festival based out of Boulder, Colorado. Julia, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right. I'm excited to have you on for a couple reasons. One, personally, I am a huge movie buff and a chef, so the fact that you're connecting those two things, I absolutely love. Funny story, I even remember growing up in high school, we had brackets for the Oscars. Like people have college basketball and football brackets where you pick the winner categories. And I remember, I think when I was 14 and 15, I won 2 years in a row. So we had that kind of connection being out in California and growing up in the LA area.
Oh yeah, industry.
And then being a chef, like connecting those two dots is something that I've always really appreciated. So I love what you've done in the past, and
thank you.
Very excited to see what you're doing now with Dinner and a Movie, which we will get to. But take us back a little bit to the Food Film Festival itself. Give us a little background.
Okay. Well, the Food Film Festival is in its 8th year, so we've been around a while, but not a lot of people know that. So we love exposing new people to the festival. And we started as part of the International Film Series because we wanted to. I was the only adult volunteer in this, art house series that goes on for weeks, and there's movie after movie, great movies, every day virtually. And so you just go in, you watch the movie, and you leave for the most part. I was like, what could be sparkly and fun? And I had heard about food film festivals, and I thought, well, why not in Boulder? We deserve a food film festival. So it was me going, oh, let's do this thing. And so we went on for, I think, 2 or 3 years as sort of, part of the International Film Series. And then we broke off and became our own nonprofit. And, that's where we are now.
I love hearing that. 8 years. I've been up to a couple events over the years, but man, 8 years, if it's a long time to be going. So I appreciate that. Now, the Food Film Festival, obviously, so many of the people featured, so many of the people creating these, so many of the people consuming these are people in our industry, the hospitality industry. So many of what we call unsung hospitality heroes, getting to see themselves on the big screen, getting to see their stories. It may not be them specifically, but their stories that connects us across the industry. So talk about it from that lens of being a place to be able to share those kind of stories for actual human beings.
It's really fun. I mean, that's part of the reason we have a film festival, because film is so potent. You just get drawn in, and it's movies as much as, food, and then they're together and you're like, oh, great. And, it's kind of funny that a lot of people in the industry are really into food films. Like we had Andy Ricker here from Tik in Portland, and he just, hoovers it up. Definitely.
Those chicken wings, those Ike's chicken wings.
Yep.
They are something else. Absolutely. And so speak on that a little bit. So besides showing some, releases of brand new food documentaries and food focused films, you're also then creating another level of experience where you're bringing in people like Andy, or you had, movies like Somm on, where you bring in multiple sommeliers, master somms, things like that, to kind of contextualize the stories and the movies themselves from professionals in that space. So talk about that part of the dynamic of the festival.
It's intentional. It's completely intentional to give people an immersive experience. It's really rich. And it's, it's really rich. So we often have culinary events before the films, and, restaurants are our friends. We love restaurants because they help us out with them. And then we'll have a speaker for every film. And sometimes we'll be really lucky and we'll have, a speaker who comes from somewhere else who can give us a, kind of a bigger perspective. So we've had Jonathan Gold, we've had Jeremiah Tower, we've had people from different, kind of spheres like Sandra Katz and, fermented food. And we have panel discussions. So it's a big world, and we don't just do adults. We do a free children's event, and it's very, when I'm putting together a schedule, I'm thinking, oh, I want to have a political film. I always want a political film because um, it's really important, the politics of food, and we see that all the time, right? Organic versus non-organic, people getting sick from pesticides or, all these different kinds of things. And then I'll also want an agriculture film because where does food come from? It comes from agriculture. And so that's really, important. And we usually have it be something that's organic or regenerative, kind of, sort of focused. Last year we did Biggest Little Farm with Eric Skokin, Black Cat and Black Cat Farm. And it was so perfect because he has his own Biggest Little Farm. And then I want to make sure we have, kind of dramas or comedies or something fictional, because people love that. It's really fun. And then there's usually a chefy film. And then you kind of round it out with what else is great right now, current films that are just really good.
Yeah, I love that Eric Skokin will be on the show on Friday. So we're going to talk about perfect synergy there. Mm-hmm. Definitely wanted to have a farmer on. Linnea Covington, freelance writer who writes, Westward.
Oh, yeah, right.
She's been writing a lot about farmers. And so I was like, I got to get a farmer on because we forget in the restaurant side, we're so focused on that. We forget right now farmers are really hurting as well in this moment. Yes, so making that connection, I think, is important. So perfect. Way to name drop exactly the right person. Eric Skokin, love that guy. And
Black Cat has been a sponsor of the festival, and he was a board member, from the very beginning. So we love Eric. We would in any case, but he's an amazing human being. You're going to have a great time.
Yeah, he checks all the boxes. I love him. And great chef. Forget, really prolific, great chef too. So yeah, excited to have him on and talk about what they're doing. So we'll make sure.
You might want to ask him. Oh, so sorry. What you might want to ask him is how the crops he grows might be different than some people because, because a big customer are his own restaurants. Yeah. And so their needs are not always the same as the consumer needs.
Well, this is good. Then Eric and I will talk about you, and this is Friday, dinner and a movie. So we'll make sure and get another plug for dinner and the movie in. So it's good. So we're talking about now current times, right? This year, the Food Film Festival, which the full festival is in October, correct? 8th through the 11th?
October 8th to 11th this year. Okay. And it's almost always in October.
And then now, though, you're trying to create an opportunity to engage with audiences that desperately need moments of levity right now and need education and need entertainment to laugh and to learn right now. So you're launching Dinner and a Movie this weekend, and that's really what I want to focus on practically, why that was important for you in this time, and then also talking about, again, how you're doing an amazing job in such a challenging time connecting so many restaurants and culinary speakers kind of in this moment when everything is a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dinner and Movie is new. We've never done an online, event before, and this is a series. So we're going to have Dinner and the Movie for the next 4 weeks. So this week it's Tajika, which is a Moroccan film. Next week it's East Side Sushi, which is a dramedy about a single mother Latina who wants to become a sushi chef, and she encounters kind of barriers because she's cultural and gender, and it's a fun film. And then after that we're doing Make Hummus Not War. And that's a documentary that really personal, funny documentary that played at our first festival. And we haven't set the fourth one yet, but I'll let everyone know when we have.
I love it. So tell us specifically then right now how people can kind of get onto that. I just shared the website, and right on there you can see Dinner and Movie, and it's got some of the specs and kind of breaks that down. That's the best place for them to go to then get linked up for Friday. What time on Friday is the showing going to be?
It's going to be 6:30 every week. And so we'll have a live presentation that starts at 6:30 where we'll have Peggy Markel, who, knows Morocco cuisine and Morocco intimately. She's going to introduce the film, and we're going to have restaurants involved that are making special Moroccan dishes for people to, eat, and we have recipes for home cooks. So we'll all watch and eat at the same time, and then at the end, there's going to be a discussion and a Q&A with Sarah Brito of the Good Food 100 restaurant list, and Peggy, and she has a culinary travel company, and her trip sounds fabulous. So that's the format. And we're going to record all the live segments, and people can actually experience the whole thing until 12:30 a.m.
That's great. So 6:30 p.m. Friday, April 24th. That is Mountain Time. Sure, 6:30 Mountain Time. So a couple things going on that I think are interesting to touch on. So this now is allowing you the opportunity also to connect with a national audience. So we definitely have viewers from around the country that can watch the movie. I love that you're doing the home recipes, because then somebody, if they're adventurous enough, can make their own versions of kind of what's being prepared and be able to engage at another level, and which I think is important, because for me personally, if you ever want to have a conversation with me and get through to me, feed me. It's the most open I will ever be.
Yes.
And so I love doing potentially challenging films and agricultural and political and things like that. So give me some food and I'll listen to you, no doubt. And so I feel like a lot of people might be like that. So I like that you're going national in that way. And then you're also going very grassroots in that you have a handful of restaurants who are preparing custom Moroccan meals that people can actually pick up the day of, Friday, April 24th, and then be able to have those meals in their homes. And you kind of have Denver and Boulder area covered in that way. So let's talk about who those restaurants are.
Absolutely.
More importantly, who they are as far as who they represent in this moment and how important they are to the film festival.
Well, I'm going to, preface that with really the important fact that there are two reasons we started up this series. And the first one that came to mind is, oh my God, it's such a terrible time for restaurants. What can we do to help? And so, if you go into ticketing, you could just, buy a ticket for the movie, but we also have donation possible for these restaurants, for their, their staff who've been furloughed. And for Frontline Boulder that, pays restaurants to make meals for healthcare providers and other people who are essential. And so that was one thing that was the first thing that was like, what can we do? Because restaurants have been great for us and we love them. And, that was important. The other part of it really was, what can we do for our community? So it's hard to hang out at home and not see anybody else. And so we want to do something, fun and interesting, and, everybody watches the live presentation and everybody eats. And, that's really the essence of what we do, right?
Love it.
Yeah. So we can talk about the restaurants, definitely. So we have a new restaurant that just joined, and I'm excited. So Babette's Pizza and Pane is part of Babette's bread in Longmont, and they are famous for their wonderful bread and their takeout meals. They've just added that, and they're so good. So they're going to make a tagine chicken over couscous with garlic, black and green olives, sun-dried tomatoes, and preserved lemon. And so their dinner is for two, and it's for $25, which is what a great deal. I hope I didn't make a mess of that, but I think it's right. So and then we have Black Belly with Hosea, Rosenberg. So many people know him. He's a great chef. And he's going to be making a Moroccan chicken bastilla, which is that classic Moroccan dish of chicken and pastry, right? So good. And it's going to be with local greens and Persian cucumbers and a semolina cookie. So nice, right? So that's going to be $20 for dinner. Oh, this isn't good. Hold on. Let's see. All right, good, better. All right. So then we have Cafe Aeon, also in Boulder, like Black Belly. And we're going to have two options. And one is a meat option with braised beef short ribs, and then couscous and a trio of dips and grilled flatbreads. So for $42 for 2 or 3 people. And talk about like a varied meal. That sounds cool. And then the vegetarian option is a vegetarian tagine. Tagine is a stew, right? With preserved lemon and a trio of dips and grilled flatbreads. And then we have Community in Lafayette. And, they're going to do something very different, which is a Moroccan cheeseburger. And so this cheeseburger has harissa, aioli, whipped feta, and so it's $14 per burger. And then last but not least, we have a Denver movie. Yay! So the restaurant will have harissa shrimp with fregola, beans, and mint, and it's $20 per dinner. And boy, doesn't that sound gourmet!
You did a great job describing all those dishes. That was a lot of food to rattle off. Here's what I love. First of all, I'm starving now. That all sounds amazing. I'm so struck by I know all these cats here, and they're amazing people. And in this moment, they're struggling. It's unsure what's happening with restaurants. They're strapped. They're trying to get their people back to work, trying to figure out what happens now and what happens next. Yet I know that there was no hesitation in them whatsoever to say, I would absolutely love to be a part of this and to do something custom just for this experience because it matters. It truly matters to people who are going to be a part of that. And it matters for them to be able to express themselves and be creative and thoughtful. And so it's just, I want to herald the humanity that is people in hospitality in this time, because they could easily just go into their shell and say, I don't know. I don't have time. I don't need that. Like, it's not going to be a thing for us. We don't care and all that. Yet they're so gracious with their creativity and their time and their effort.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. I'm struck by that. And I want people to know that this is no little thing in this moment, what you're doing and what they're doing. So I'm really excited about that time. And so then talk about the discussion part of it, because I'm very interested in that. I've seen all those, and they're really fascinating to get like in depth. It's almost like watching post game of a fight or a football game or something with this in depth analysis, and I geek out on it for sure. So talk about that at a high level, why that was so important for the platform, and then specifically maybe what. From Sarah and Peggy.
We want to provide a festival experience. So, our local people can, enjoy that. And then people who aren't local can actually, quote, attend the festival for the first time. Because that's what we do. We do a discussion or at least introduce the movie. We do a film, and a lot of times we do food. And so all the discussion will be on Zoom. And the movie will be a streaming movie where we're going to send login for a separate kind of platform. And we have Sarah Brito interviewing Peggy Markell, and we've had Sarah Brito interview before, and she is so prepared about these things.
Yeah, she's a pro at every level, and what a huge advocate for the restaurant industry as a whole throughout so much of her work between Chefs Collaborative and Good Food 100, what she's doing.
They're doing a new initiative, the Good Food. And so they're putting together a farmers list. I just read about this, and I was like, and it's going to be farmers who are recommended by chefs, because chefs they're concerned about their suppliers. And I thought, isn't that great?
Perfect. The perfect person to have host in this moment too, because of the added layer, not just of being a good communicator and being good at potentially getting to the heart of a story, but also because of the work that she does to just support the community as a whole. So you got the lineup exactly right, Julia, for this. In year 8, you're hitting stride, because here's what I think. I don't think you're ever going to go back to not having this digital platform for people to be able to have this space to share. And I hope you don't, I'd say, because now all of a sudden you're just creating another layer of depth to what you offer. And the fact that now the Flatirons Food Film Festival is now going to go national, I think is valuable, because people are going to get to feel what we've felt in the Front Range community for years and years.
You just gave me an idea. It's very exciting. So we could do, a series of 4 at other points of the year than the live festival. And I think that's totally possible. Rather than doing like a huge festival, we can do our live huge festival, but we could do like a mini series from time to time.
Yeah, and I could even see you having, ambassadors in different cities that kind of stamp out the model and are able to be supported from the hub and have little spokes coming out.
Actually, they might be able to arrange their own restaurants in their own city.
That's exactly it. And you create the model, and you see this playing out a lot in different fields. A lot of the Lee Initiative, Ed Lee and Lindsay, what they're doing, or Jose Andres, what he's doing with World Central Kitchen. I mean, a lot of efforts that are happening right now. The ones that I see doing the best are not just doing the best work in their community, but they're creating a repeatable model. And I think we need a lot of that now, so that we have the leadership to be able to deliver on it. And so I definitely for what you're doing, because what you're doing is really important, because it's just giving us, it's creating culture in a time where we're really stripped of a lot of that, where we're struggling so much. So yes, I will do whatever I can just to share that, because I think it's important for people across the country to think about the idea of a food film festival as it's not a frivolous thing in this moment. I think it's very essential to who we are as humans, and especially, again, sharing food and culture in the way that we do. So I want to really get that home. This isn't just a plug for a movie. This is important culturally, especially in this moment. So yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, no, you know what? I stoked you really, I love that you mentioned, the Food Film Festival and Jose Andres in the same paragraph. I was like, that's so cool.
I feel the energy. Look, it's not as high profile as him or what he's doing, or some of the things at the forefront of feeding people in this time and all of that. I understand that. And rightfully so, getting people fed first and then having them be able to be entertained, I think comes in a proper order. Absolutely. However, to discuss the fact that this has an opportunity to connect us in a incredibly meaningful way cannot be diminished. So I want to make sure that comes across. We're not just saying, hey, come out to the drive-in theater and watch a double feature of some 80s movie that you love, which would also be awesome. It's really celebrating the culture and the hard work of so many people. So that's why I really wanted to have you on here to kind of share that.
I would do a food film festival event driveway. It's safe.
Yeah, and that's it too. It's giving us an opportunity. I'd much rather talk about this than talk about Tiger King.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not the most zeitgeist, memeable thing that's going to happen out of this. It probably is. I just think that every time we have an opportunity to share the food culture and the movie making culture and bring those together. Again, you have me every single time. We can talk about this every week and talk about whatever the movie is. And I wanted to kind of give some credit to the movie. Can you give us a couple of the high level of the movie itself, a little bit of what that movie is about?
Well, when I'm previewing movies, sometimes it's or maybe, but this film was one of those films that was like, yeah, I love this film, let's do it. And so it's about a Moroccan boy who wants to become a chef, and he's preoccupied, obsessed with food throughout his, teenage years and when he's a kid. And it's like, oh, wow. I mean, and there's a little romance in it, and he goes to Paris as an illegal. Well, I'm gonna actually not spoil that, but in that case, it gets really dramatic towards the end with a certain amount of peril.
All right, And the filmmaker, do you happen to know the filmmaker's name?
No, not off the top of my head.
I'll have to find out.
Yeah.
Good. I'm excited. I'm excited about this movie. Moreover, the platform itself. So you can count on. You have one more viewer this weekend from. So I'm excited about that, and I think more people should tune into that. Look, this movie may be a movie that you're into. You may be all about learning about Moroccan culture. You may like the idea of kind of the hard knock journey to get to be a chef, or you may not. I still want you to watch this movie because of what it represents for creating the groundwork, the framework for something meaningful in the way that we connect people to food, to filmmaking, to culture, and even in this moment to recipes, but also restaurants in your community because they need you right now so much. And so for them to spend time and effort to put together recipes and dishes for you, for it means a lot. So we need to support multiple levels of what's happening. So, Julie, I appreciate that. So I want to give an opportunity for some playlist items. But first, any last thoughts that you just want to share with us about the Food Film Festival or specifically Dinner and a Movie?
Oh, it's really fun to go in a different direction. I thought this is kind of a funny thing. I thought, okay, an online thing, it won't be as much work, right? It's totally as much work.
That's right. Organizing people and organizing infrastructure is always a challenge, especially if you've gotten into a groove over the last 8 years of organizing people physically and you know the space and you know the budgets, and now we're in a totally different landscape. So yeah, I appreciate that. People, Julia is putting in work. Let's reward that effort. You know, especially in the hospitality industry, we love effort above all else. So we appreciate the hustle, Julia, for sure.
And actually, Facebook is the best place to go because I'm a busy beaver on Facebook. So the current stuff goes right on Facebook right away.
Very good. Find Julia Joun on Facebook. She is working. Playlist items. I'm very interested to hear a couple things. Again, as a self-proclaimed movie buff, my wife Betsy always jokes and she rolls her eyes at us when my dad and my brother and I get together. We can just talk in movie quotes for like 2 straight hours and she has to like leave the room. So again, it's in me for sure. So I want to hear a couple of the playlist items, a couple of the movies that you would highly recommend anytime or in this moment specifically.
Well, you know, we do beverage as well. So we have screened every single Psalm movie, Psalm and Psalm in the Bottle, and, you know, the latest Psalm 3. And we've been so lucky that we've got amazing people from the movie to talk. And those are really great movies. I think the second one is, it's probably a little effort for people, but the first one is a hoot, and the third one is really, really good as well. And yeah.
All right, give me a couple more, Julia.
Well, we talked about Uncorked, which is new on Netflix. So if you want to see something fresh that you haven't seen before, I guess it's a drama about the son of a barbecue restaurant owner in Memphis who wants to, kind of break from his culture, not that that's actually and become a sommelier. So that's really like different. I mean, you don't usually see Afro-American culture intersecting with, fine dining or, oinophiles or anything like that. So it's fun. And there's too many fun parts. Oh, we played this Diana Kennedy documentary at the last festival. And Diana Kennedy is a towering figure in Mexican cuisine. She's like over 90. It's and she's still spry and going, and she's a character. And she's really interesting.
Remember what that was called?
I think the first part of the title is Diana Kennedy, and then there's a subtitle.
All right, I'm looking that one up for sure because all the rest you mentioned I've seen. Clearly, I watch a lot of food films, food documentaries, all of them for sure. People ask me all the time, what's your favorite? I was like, you have to pick the moment. Like, am I sitting down for dinner? Are we having drinks? Do I have popcorn? It's completely situational. What emotional state am I in? I remember there was a while that big night was Tony Shalhoub,
Oh,
was like tops for me. So really,
oh, Perla, via Perla in Boulder. And so it was so fun because you get so much into the timpano, but how many people have ever tried it? And so this lunch was like everybody got a little timpano, like their little, single serving timpano. It was so great. So yeah, big night, eat, drink, man, woman. There's the classics, Tampopo. We've actually played that with the Alamo Draft House. A film that probably is streaming, that's great, is El Somni. And it's a culinary opera with the Roca brothers. It's so out there. It's so beautiful.
those guys they're at a different frequency for sure. The Roca brothers. So Julie, I appreciate it. Everybody, Friday, April 24th, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. You'll be able to interact with Dinner and a Movie, and I highly recommend getting in there so you can support that. You can also get on to flatironsfoodfilmfest.org, and you can find details as well as get connected with the restaurants locally in the Denver, Boulder area that are creating those custom Moroccan menus. Julia, Jen, thank you so much for taking some time, and thank you for the work you're doing, especially in this moment.
Thank you very much, Jensen. It's been a pleasure.
All right, cheers. Have a great week.
Okay.
I will see your work at least, on Friday.
Okay, marvelous.
Yeah, go support that. Absolutely. Again, for me personally, I just was so excited when Julia reached out to me because I absolutely want to support everything that this is about, from films to films about food culture and telling those type of stories, which are so compelling to me personally and so many within our industries, so many of those unsung hospitality heroes, as well as just the way that they're thoughtfully thinking about connecting the dots nationally and being hyper local in the way that those handful of restaurants get to create something special in this moment to share with our community, and then also to support them financially, because damn it, they need it right now. So get on and order. If you're Denver and Boulder, I will find you if you are not on this Friday. Fruition, Black Belly, Cafe Aeon, Babette's, Eat It Community, all people I know well, highly respect. The food is fucking delicious. Get on it, people, and watch this movie. I'm excited to see this type of story. I love it. The hard knock journey to become a chef. And yeah, let's Friday, April 24th, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Go check it out for sure. Tomorrow's show, Tuesday, forgetting the dates. I'm glad I got April 24th correct. 21st. Happy 420. Tuesday, April 21st, I'm going to have Jay Christensen on, former winemaker of Canyon Wind out on the western slope of Colorado. Really was one of the people that introduced me to Colorado wine. Now he has a great company, Tin Sheets Consulting, and he's got some interesting philosophies and approaches to planning, and I'm a big strategic planner. Do a lot in my work as well as just in my head all the time. So we're going to talk a little bit, because I think this level of strategic planning, this thoughtful planning process that we're going to talk about a little bit with him, is going to be important for restaurants coming out of this. So definitely check that out tomorrow. And again, new show times, noon Mountain Time. We're going to be on live with Jay Christensen. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.